of the Wisemen Say podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Gerald Lucas, alongside Derek Abbott tonight. As well, our fearless leader, Ty Fisher, is not here tonight. Derek, how are you doing?
I am doing well. Finally back to some normalcy after World Cup break. I was on a few vacations. Now back to our regularly scheduled routine day to day and in the soccer world, which is great. How about you?
Um, I've been here. Um, if y'all could just keep my wife's family in your prayers. Her mom passed away yesterday.
Sorry to hear
I
that.
know people have seen it on social media. But other than that, excited that there's going to be nonstop soccer action.
A lot,
Um,
a lot of soccer action coming up now.
League's Cup is right around the corner, literally, and the second half of the season. Um, so yeah,
First game's on Tuesday, right, for Leagues Cup?
but let's, yes,
Love it.
yes. So without wasting any more time, Saturday the boys of the original Black and Gold were in action at Scott's Miracle Grove Field in the first leg of the Hell is Real Derby. And hell was real on Saturday. I will say that was that hell was real. What was you were at the game,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So what were from the fans' perspective? What were you seeing down there? Watching the game.
Yeah, I mean, as you would expect, very ruckus environment. Um, Gosh, I think I don't know if it was sellout or not, but it looked pretty close to it from a fan's perspective. Um, People were really hyped up for it. Noticeable lack of excitement from the supporters, the traveling supporters, which is a little surprising also. Um, and in general, I think the crew did a great job. I mean, even for the presentation, I mean, the generic tifo aside, because they gotta do their own thing to it. But outside of that, I mean, just the things that little twist of things that you saw around the stadium. There was like a little bit more from a firework perspective in the beginning. Smoke on the ceiling, like the whole thing was just very, and also probably a byproduct of the last game that we had was on a Wednesday night. A little bit harder to get that type of atmosphere going on a Wednesday night in the first place. And then we hadn't had soccer in our stadium with the crew in 2 months. So, I mean, that all certainly played into it, but I would be lying if I said I didn't have a little hesitation to my excitement level just because of what we saw on Wednesday night coming out of the break. But obviously, as we saw in the field, hell was real. They played amazing, and it was a great night to be out watching soccer. And from a 500-foot view of my experience. How about you? How was it in the? Were you there in the press box? I believe you said you were going, right?
Yeah, I was there, and the guy I was sitting next to was, of course, had to be a Cincinnati, douchebag, um, but no, it was, it definitely was, seeing night and day of from Wednesday to Saturday. I
Mm-hmm.
was actually scared. I still had faith in the team, even though a fearless leader, he was looking at it being a realist.
He was, wasn't
which
he?
I don't blame him. We looked horrible against a depleted NYCFC on Wednesday, and it just it was like, okay, here we go. We were still waiting on some of the signings to come in. Brooks Lennon has been hurt since he's got here. Well, I think he was hurt with Atlanta.
Oh wow, I didn't realize
or
that.
coming off an injury, and so he hasn't started yet for the Crew, and waiting on Bryce Mendez, which as of hell is real, he had just gotten into town. I think, or no, he got into town Wednesday. So, I mean, it was like, okay, maybe, he got maybe one or two trainings in before hell is real. But then, Lautaro, got in, I think Saturday, Sunday, something like that. And he's already training with the team. So, these signings are getting here. I know we're still waiting on Herrera with his visa and everything, since he got the permit, the Crew permanently transferred him here, which is stupid, but and they're still not done trying to get people for this window, right? So you're looking at FC Cincinnati, and they're like, they got everybody, right? They got all their fire, they got Pizza Man Matt Miazga. They got a DP, center back that they got Kevin Denke. They got Evander. Evander's one of the most dangerous people in MLS. Because he can either make you pay by him shooting it, or he's got that eye that will he'll make you pay one way or the other, right? And unfortunately, Columbus found out how he makes teams pay, right? Game started off nice, quick pace, but then turnovers started, right? And then in that ninth minute, off of the deflection, goes to Evander, who chips it to Denke, and FC Cincinnati goes up 1-0 within the first 10 minutes. And I'm sitting there I'm like, here we go.
Yep.
I hate this feeling. It's our rival. We go down in the first 10 minutes. We're at home. Can we please catch a break? And then it just looked like something happened to Columbus, and it was like a light switch happened. And it's like, oh, okay. And Taylor Twellman talked about it. Jake Zavin or whatever his name is, talked about it too. But for the first half of the season, Columbus had no identity. It was like as soon as Wilfried left, Columbus's identity was gone. And and then it was just like after Cincinnati went up 1-0, it looked like Nancy was there on the sideline.
Yeah.
And Twellman talked about it, like he was like, the way they're playing right now, you would think Wilfred Nancy is down there on the sideline coaching this team, because this looks like one of his teams.
And I think that's why they put Courtois in that position.
I've watched
too.
Hell is Real twice now. Not only that, because he was under Nancy in 23, but also because he's been with the club since I think 2018. he was in the academies in 2018 and 2019, I believe. So he was here for Save the Crew.
Yeah.
Or he was like here for right as it was after the team was saved, but he was here and with the academy kids. And then Next Pro is invented, and it's like they just moved him up to Next Pro, and he just took off like a wildfire, right? I mean, like I was talking to him at training, like he talks about duos. Well, I had to remind him of the duos that he had, and with Noah Fuson and Marco and Jason, and the combination between Jason and Mo. And he was like, yeah, that was some good team. That was a good team.
Mm-hmm.
But you bring it back to Saturday, and it just was like they were overloading one side, but they were attacking at different angles. Right. And there was some chances in that first half, and Taha has really is starting to come into his own.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that much, but looking down and watching it back, there was one instance where Taha just shouldered somebody, I think Pavel Buka, off of the ball. Literally just manhandled him, took the ball from him like this is mine. We're going the other way.
Absolutely.
And then Nagby had some pretty big shoes to fill. He leaves a big pair of boots for the midfield to be fill, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Dylan is up there with Nagby. The way that he commands, the midfield and has that midfield vision is almost like Darlington-esque, right? And it was like, okay, this is the crew that won the championship in 23.
Yeah.
Right. And then Chiari gets that one shot off of his shin, trying to do a side kick, and Celentano pushes it over for the corner, and I don't know if he heard Taylor Twellman on the broadcast or somebody, whatever, but Twellman was saying that he wanted Chiari to be more clinical. Well, when that corner came in and he hammered that header, a clinical header, that was a thunderous, goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, pushed it right back in Twellman's face. Like, well, you wanted clinical. Well, you got clinical.
And you got it.
And you saw him run over to the side, to the sideline. Yeah. You saw him run over to the sideline. He went over there because that game was the first game that Josh Williams was working on set pieces.
Oh, I didn't know that.
According to Courtois, that was Josh Williams' first game working with set pieces. And that's the person that he went over and hugged after the goal, which was amazing, which was wonderful. And, just a little bit of backstory behind that. But then the crew get a corner right back after the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Ty were sitting there, and Ty was like, "How this would be absurd on back-to-back corners."
Yeah.
Chiari could get a header, right? And he almost did.
He did.
If it wasn't for Miles Robinson, I believe it was, he almost would have had two. But nonetheless, that was the first goal. He levels it. And then what the controversial one that everybody was talking about at first was it a penalty or was it a flop, right?
Mm-hmm.
At first glance, it looked like it could have been, a flop on Max's part.
Yeah, I would
But when
agree
you
with on
go
the first
back and
spot.
you look at the replay again, I mean, it sort of does, Max sort of does lean into, Miazga, but Miazga went through his right leg first before, anything. And VAR even looked at it, and what Taylor was saying that, there was no reason for Miazga to go to the ground.
No.
And you come in with your studs up on that challenge, you know, there was no reason for that. And so PK was, awarded. It was checked by VAR. PK stands. And who better to have at the spot? Your boy. You love him so much. Daniel Gazdag.
He I mean, that's what we realistically brought him in for, right? I mean, he was doing this with Philly, and realistically, I mean, that's kind of what you hope from him. If nothing else, then when he gets the chances, now that Diego's no longer with us, he needs to be doing that if he's going to prove himself to still be on a DP level. So, I mean, that's what you want to see. He delivered. I mean, I think going forward, he's going to be the person who takes the PKs, at least for the rest of this season, it seems like, unless I don't feel like they're going to jettison him out now, unless there's an option out there that we don't know about that they're looking at. But as of now, he's going to be the guy taking those. And so he needs to make sure that if he's not going to produce goals in the run of play or, in set pieces or whatever it may be, then the PK, you need to be that specialist. And so far it's paying off. So we'll see what we can get from it. I don't want to get too hyped up about it, but I mean, especially given it's a rivalry game, that was great to see all around. I can't imagine anybody having a negative feeling towards that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Wi-Fi was going in and out.
Okay.
I think I told Ty, I think this
we may have lost Gerald again. The Wi-Fi is not as reliable as it used to be. Much like some of the crews play. No, I'm just kidding. But
there we are. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So he scored against Burnley in open play with the pass from Hugo.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that, actually.
He got the PK against NYCFC. And then he gets the goal, the PK against, FC Cincinnati, right? So that's 3 games in a row that he has scored. I think this is the turning point for Daniel.
Okay.
I think when he doesn't have that much on his plate, when he's on the pitch, I think it allows him to be himself again.
Mm-hmm.
But
He
I
seems
really
more comfortable.
think I really think that was a turning point.
He seems more comfortable without Diego being there, which I don't know if any of us could have necessarily predicted that, but you know, that's the situation we're in now without having Diego anymore. So to have him performing better now is certainly a net positive for sure. And I mean, again, if you're going to be giving him DP money, you want him to be performing like one. And if you're scoring 3 goals in 3 games, regardless of whether it was a friendly versus a European team or a game that ultimately you didn't win, he is providing what he's supposed to. And for that, that's exciting, especially when we have a bunch of new players still that we're still going to put in the mix. So hopefully all the, that they can all kind of complement each other even better now than what we have. I mean, if we played every game like we played against Cincinnati, amazing, like great. But we have even better players that are going to raise the ceiling in some positions coming in that if they can continue to put it, kind of slide into these slots, which I think is what the expectation is and why we went and got these players, then, we should be looking for that climb to begin. If you're starting to see some of these players maximize right now, who maybe didn't as much previously, then that's a really good sign for things to come, you would imagine.
Yeah. So they sorry about that. I guess everything's lagging or
I didn't hear you.
But they go into halftime 2-1. They come out. Yeah, they go into halftime 2-1. Come out in the second half, and they hold their own. Right? They started bringing in subs. I think bringing on Andre Gomes at halftime, I think that was the right call.
Mm-hmm.
But then FC Cincinnati just started bringing in people.
A lot of people too.
Evander tried to do everything on his own. And yeah, I mean, they brought in Tom Barlow and that Martinez guy. That guy had me worried because he was sending some crosses in there that I was like, oh my God. I'm like, please, no, for the love of God, no. But Crew hold their own, in that second half. And I think I had a mini stroke / mini heart attack because Camacho, like, oh my God, like, please.
He has really fallen off since that injury last year.
I don't think he's fallen off. I think it's just the age.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he still he showed that he still has it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He showed that he could go up against the heavy hitters, but if somebody has speed, it's over for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, they held their own, and it was like, okay, time was ticking away. Time was ticking away. It was like, okay, there's 15 minutes left. Okay, now there's 10 minutes. Oh, we're down to 5 minutes. We're down to the final you know, 2, 3 minutes acting a little more, and I'm just like, for the love of God, please, let's not have a ridiculous amount of stoppage time.
Yeah.
And then it was like Ty's like, oh, it's gonna be 4 minutes. Ty's like, it's gonna be 4 minutes. I said, no, it's gonna be 3 minutes. And sure enough, it was like 3 minutes of stoppage time, and I'm like, I closed the lid on my laptop, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I'm holding my breath. Like, it's one of those, you hold your breath, and uh, you're watching the time. You're watching the time, and it's like, okay, it's at the 92nd minute. Okay, I'm watching the seconds on my watch, go down too. It's like a half a minute left, and then all hell breaks loose.
Oh,
Literally, all hell breaks loose, and
literally,
that Valenzuela, that was, I'm surprised there hasn't been any other further communication about any more any more punishment instead of just one game for the straight disciplinary committee.
I feel like if you don't see it tomorrow,
but that was there. He wasn't even going for the ball, and he tried to take. Yeah, he tried to take pretty much end the season for Taha. With that kick, and because he was the littlest person in that scrum, but was the first one over there, right? And even though they say nothing was said between Farsi and Valenzuela, there's a point on when you go back, and I think it's either Jabari or Valenzuela says something to Farsi. I can't head. And then some more shoving happened. But even though they said that it nothing was said and it was just all about sticking up for Taha, I might have to call BS on that by looking at the scrum video.
Yeah.
Because there was Mo said something in French, remember my face.
Oh.
To Jabari. So I'm more or less inclined that it was something Jabari said to Farsi.
Yeah.
Because Farsi was, Valenzuela said something, then Jabari said something, and Valenzuela like, yeah, meet me in the tunnel. And I called it out right with Ty, like, I said Valenzuela just told Farsi to meet him in the tunnel. And Ty's like, yeah, that's all talk. But then as soon as that whistle, and it's like, you just see Farsi just sprint.
That was crazy.
And I'm like, that ain't all talk.
He was ready to throw down.
And you also see Sean.
Yeah.
You don't see Sean get angry. But Sean's vein in Sean's face was popping out because he was trying to get back. And I forget who had him hemmed up, but somebody had him hemmed up and was not letting him go. A Farsi, and then Hagen, he got loose from Mo. Got loose from him. Hagen had to yank him up and take him away. Like, bro, it was stage or watching Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi trying to keep them separated.
Yeah,
but man, when you say hell is real between the two teams, and it's not just about that sign on 71 South.
Oh yeah, they hate each other, which is great. I love it. We need that.
And the fact that their coach called, yeah, we can't always beat them, but the fact their coach called it out too, like Columbus deserved that win. Like we just, and Columbus wanted it more. And Taylor made a point like, hey, where was that during the game? Where was that when you were on the field? And he wasn't talking about Columbus. He was talking about Cincinnati. Like, where was that fight on the field? He's like, because y'all lacked it. Hell is real. Ohio's black and gold. And FCC is still in Kentucky. That's all we know, right?
That's true. That is very true.
But like Ty said in his when he retweeted Adam King's video that he caught of the melee in the tunnel, it gave off Ohio State Michigan vibe.
Oh yeah, it looked a lot like that tunnel in Michigan, especially where
it was almost like watching Michigan in the tunnel with the big house. Yeah, it looked a lot like that. So now we go from the Little Brothers of Ohio. Which I don't know if he's playing or not. But they even have a long list of.
He's not. They already announced him and somebody else are out on World Cup rest.
DePaul.
Yeah, I think that is who it is.
So they're going to be without DePaul, Messi, Bertarame's out with concussion.
Oh, it's a whole laundry list of people that are
they
out.
They got a whole crazy. Other. Yeah. But I hate the fact that they have him. But they got Casemiro.
Yeah. Which is allowed to, he's allowed to play even though they're under investigation, apparently. So
I'm mad they
whatever.
Man, don't get me started on that. I just wish he would have resigned in with Manchester United, stayed away from MLS. But he's here. It's big for the for the league. What are some things that Columbus or Miami on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing I think is you have to take advantage of the fact that they're going to be down. Gosh, I don't know how many people. There was a tweet out there. I think it was a Miami fan who highlighted all the people that were out. It was like a wild laundry list of people who were injured. I think their estimation was that I'm sure they'll call up academy kids and things like that. But if you just look at their first team, they would only be able to have like 13 people in total, like including people on the pitch and bench. So, I mean, they'll have to call up people to fill out the bench in some capacity. So when you see that, obviously you think Columbus coming out of Cincinnati, continue to put things together, get some of the newer guys who are here acclimated even more. I mean, you should have higher hopes than we probably would have typically if Messi and all them were out there, obviously, against Miami. But again, as you highlighted, they've got new guys over from the EPL. Suarez is still there. And we saw on Saturday night that Suarez still can make an impact for them. So you have to account for all of that and still, us tinkering along with the defensive line to see what the best combo is and things like that. I mean, those types of things still leave me a little nervous. But they did make they've made some mistakes. I forget if it was the game previous to Saturday, if it was on Saturday, but in one of the games, like one of their guys kicked it back to the keeper who just completely, I don't know, got cement shoes and completely missed on it, and they scored an own goal. So like they're starting to make a little bit of mistakes and stuff. I'm sure that's rust on their part.
Yeah, that was the welcome.
Oh, that whatever night that was that they had that last week. I think it was like Monday or Tuesday, maybe.
I think that was Wednesday.
What was it, Wednesday? Okay.
I think that was MLS back.
We'll take it from here.
I think it might have been the first game back.
Kickoff.
Oh my God. I hate that.
But yeah, I mean, I think, I'm not necessarily looking at like specific players at this point. Obviously, if you can get a PK or just in general run a form, Daniel Gazdag certainly is someone you got to keep an eye out on from our end. Max, in my opinion, played horrible last Wednesday, but then played a lot better on Saturday. So I think, continue to look at him. Mo Farsi, who last year I was just championing. I kept saying he was a missing piece and everything. He is out there really looking like he's leading the offense. I was a little disappointed on the Wednesday game. It felt like they just were told they weren't allowed to cross the ball because they never even attempted one. It didn't feel like. Maybe they did once or twice, and I kind of missed it. But at least in the first 75 minutes of that game, it didn't feel like we tried to cross it once. But regardless, I think we have very dangerous threats on offense. And I think when you end up missing some guys who previously they would have maybe accounted for, like a Diego Rossi, you kind of have to game plan a lot differently for the crew that we have in there now, because it's a little more unexpected. You don't really know what to expect. I mean, even if you feel like you had the Nazi system down, you've got different players doing that now. So you're still going to get different variations of what you maybe would expect. So I think for us, there's a little more of a tactical advantage when it comes to that. I mean, we're not certainly going to have the name factor of some of the guys that Miami has, and that's not been the case for a while now. Sure, people could argue about that, but having really skilled players in these positions still to be able as a team to combat a few of their stars that they have, and then some of the patchwork that they're going to have going on. I mean, this is the type of time you got to take advantage of that with a team like Miami. I mean, realistically, they're going to come back with a full squad in the fall and play us here, and it's going to be a lot different of a game. So these are the types of games. They missed out on New York. That was a game they should have taken advantage of, and they weren't able to do it. There's some 3 points that we could have loved to have had, but that's behind us now. So you beat a team ahead of you in Cincinnati, and now you beat potentially Miami, things are looking really good. So it's a momentum builder for sure. And you got to hope that with continued, practice now with Courtois, who seems to be really ingraining everybody into, the primary aspects of Wilfred Nancy's system, that I like their chances a lot more than, of course, at the beginning of the season because we weren't playing well. But I mean, in general, with Messi's out there and others, you're not going to go into that game a favorite, especially on the road. Whereas here, I don't really know that we would be the favorite in the first place, but you feel a little more confident about what they might be able to get done down there now than if you would have asked me even a week ago.
I mean, that we started Hell is Real out as the favorite. I'm like, how?
That was weird. That was a little weird. I was shocked at that. The bookies knew something we didn't know. Vegas always knows.
Man. But I think you touched on it. I think Columbus does need to take full advantage of Inter Miami not having Messi.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, come October, October, November, September, whenever it is, October, I think it is. When they come to town, yes, they're going to come to Columbus and not Cleveland this year.
Thank God.
I think they heard all the backlash and everything. When they come to town, he's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still sticking with it. Columbus is going to win the championship. They're going to win the MLS Cup this year. Hell, they might win Open Cup too.
That is what I've got my sights set on right now. I don't want to go as far as to say MLS Cup, but I think Open Cup, they have a very solid chance, especially with the idea that they can host it all the way through. And the next round is the semifinals, so they're going to have a lot of people there for that.
Yeah, they're going to be going up against a hot Orlando team, though.
That's true. That is true. When is that game, by the way?
September 17th, I believe.
Oh, my goodness. So we got a month and a half to go still. Holy cow. I didn't realize that.
So, I mean, Orlando can fall off in between now and then.
Mm-hmm.
But look who they brought in. They brought them. So, yeah, that's going to be a good game for Columbus in the Open Cup. But now you talk about right now you're in league play. You got Inter Miami on Saturday. You're going into stretches now where you're going to be having, 2 games a week.
Yeah. Yeah, there'll definitely be a lot of schedule congestion going on here for the probably the rest of the season, honestly. I mean, you're looking at Leagues Cup coming up beginning of August, most of August. And then you have U.S. Open Cup plus regular season play, and they're not going to slow down. I mean, the playoffs are the start at the end of October, beginning of December or November. I mean, so, you got to be ready with your full squad, and, we got to hope for no injuries and things like that, because it's now it's a sprint and a marathon at the same time. You have to be playing your best or ascending to your best at this time of year.
And don't forget winter. Or winter to fall or winter to winter.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
because after the playoffs are over in November, December, we have that sprint season in February, and then we're off for what, a month and a half, 2 months,
Yeah, it starts back up in August
and then we
sometime. I'm
start
not
the
exactly sure when.
2026 season. Yeah, so we then
It's
the
gonna be crazy.
2026 season starts in August.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but this is what, in order to be competitive with some of the top leagues around the world, this is what MLS had to get to.
Yeah.
With the, and so we could bring in play, whatever. But back on the topic with Miami,
Mm-hmm.
I think if Columbus can bottle everything that they've done against like Burnley, against Cincinnati, and ride this wave, I think they might need to more Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I think that's what they need. They need more. They need to do that more often,
Yeah. Let's get that type of fire out
because
there
it
for every
just
game.
looked like they were out there fighting.
Mm-hmm.
They were fighting for scraps. They were out there clawing. They were digging. So I'd like to see that happen a little more.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think it'll be a good Miami will be a good litmus test for, can they start to do that consistently. It's always going to be one game at a time, but again, you've got a game that appears on paper to be very winnable. You need to take advantage of that. Even if you scrape out a tie out of it, I mean, realistically, I'm not going to net that as like some kind of super positive, but in general, if they play really hard and they just, Miami plays out of their minds as well, then I mean, it is what it is. But from their play specifically, I want to see the same type of heart and passion and fire that they did against Cincinnati, that especially that end of the first half, second half.
Oh yeah. Well, here is the favorite part of the show. Let me get to it. Predictions.
Now, I just want to say beforehand that we didn't do a show last week, so I didn't get to have this on the record. But in our text, you saw I said, now you said it also. I was thinking it and didn't say it before you did, but I was also thinking 2-1 and Crew win. And of course, we didn't have a show, so it doesn't count. And the last time we did this, I was at the bottom of the barrel. However, I'm going to put a little asterisk in my mind next to that I should have 4 points or whatever it is. So just saying that out loud. But I'm ready for my prediction. I am going to go. It's going to sound a little crazy, but I'm choosing to, again, Sunshine Brigade going on over here, but I'm choosing to believe that they're going to bottle this up, and that it is going to be 3-1 Crew, with Mo Farsi scoring, Daniel Gazdag scoring, and then insert 2 other people here, whoever you want it to be. Or 1 other person, excuse me. I named 2 of the 3.
All right. So what? My everything froze on me. What did you say? You're going with
3-1.
You're going 3-1.
Yes.
Oof.
I know. I'm going to regret it. We're recording, so I'm going to be totally off, I'm sure.
As much, I mean, that would probably be something. I'm not going to put a name on who scores. Yeah, I'm going 2-1.
Okay. Crew or
But
Miami?
I think it could be 3-1. True.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go with 2-1 Columbus. Yeah. Don't know what Ty's going. We didn't
We'll have to
ask
get
him
that from
before the
him.
show.
He'd probably say like 3-1 Miami if I had to guess.
He might do like a 1-1 draw or something like that.
I could see that too, yeah.
Hey, we did get, a shout out from a fan from Canada. They still
nice.
watch all the games.
Love it.
So our friends and family, above the border in Canada, she wanted to say, hey to all crew fans, and go from there. But
hello from Columbus,
if you're watching
Canada.
the show tonight, if you're watching, we know you support us and you support, the team still. And go from there. So I think that's that.
That is that. Now everybody can go check out the All-Star game and, I don't know, root on only your favorite crew players. The heck with the rest of them.
Liga MX.
It was
that would have been fun. That would have been funny if they would have added Diego Rossi to.
Oh my!
To their All-Star team.
That would have been something, man.
Rossi on the All-Stars.
I'm glad they did not do that. That would have been just shameful, frankly. But I'm trying to see if I can get us a score update real quick.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in and dealing with all my technical issues with my laptop. This is not my normal one. Go to our Spotify page. There is a supporters link there that you can donate if you would like. Every cent that's donated to the show goes right back into the show to help us keep, software rolling, travel for away content. And so we bring you, the coverage that you crew fans deserve. We do got a merchandise store that's also in our link tree. Every dime and penny from purchasing merchandise from the Wisemen Say store goes right back into the show as well. Yeah. You could you can find Tyler on Twitter at Fisher Tyler __. You can find the Wisemen Say podcast on Twitter at Wisemen Say or Wisemen Pod, I believe it is. I don't never know what it is half the time. Yeah, Wisemen Pod. Don't know the Blue Sky one, but you can find us on Blue Sky. You can find Derek
at Funky Moses 17.
And you can find myself on Twitter at Gerald_Lucas96. It's a short show. That's it, y'all. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully next week. We'll have all three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So with all due, peace out, y'all. Hug your loved ones. Stay hydrated, stay cool, and go through. And as tradition goes, Derek, Wisemen say,
only fools rush in.
Peace out, y'all. Hug your loved ones. Life is too short. Don't take anything for granted. Take your vitamins, say your prayers. Stay hydrated and stay cool. Peace out, y'all.
Go Crew.
And seriously?